Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, wonderful, magnificent individual. Today, I would like to speak about share what you learn, and the channel will be open to you. The more you share and the more you explore and are curious and wondrous about life, your own inner strengths, faculties, powers of perception and also understanding, and the center of your heart, the warmth of your blood, the movement of your nervous system, or the nervous system that allows movement, the limbic metabolic system, which also reflects in our will and in our facial expressions also, our will comes through, and our thinking, of course, which is very important to allow enlightenment and elucidating these topics to be able to understand a human being. The more curious and interested you become in these things, the more and more its noble effects. Because the more you learn, the more interested you become. The more secrets you discover, the more understanding you learn, and the more opens up to you. You see, it is a constant opening up, and we are now on the path of ascension in our spiritual soul faculties, but our physical is on the downward. The materialistic is on the downward path, becoming decadent. So the more spiritual effort, the more spiritual life and interest and beauty, really, you put into what you have deemed for yourself in free choice, and also as a necessity in the world, what you can share to the world. As for my own path, I have become a spiritual scientist to explain and to inspire and to put firewood into your fireplace so that you can, well, let that fire burn for yourself. You become interested in these topics yourself. When you click into my videos, that means you were for some reason drawn to my video, and my titles are pretty straightforward. So you feel that pull to that title in a sense. It's karmic or destined in a sense. Not your whole life is not destined, but there are destined moments and destined opportunities to learn, grow, and be aware and conscious. So it is about being awake to these small graces. And the more you immerse yourself, stimulate, keep alive, and keep in movement, the more spiritual you become. Because the spiritual is in constant movement and spiritualization, just as this physical body is. The more you, allow in reverent, grateful feelings and thoughts, it also counteracts the disease-bringing forces. The disease-bringing forces thrives in a being and in an atmosphere and in a milieu that is ridden with fear, despair, negativity, and hatred and such. They really, really love it there. And the more you immerse yourself in good, healthy, grateful thoughts. Of course, we do have moments where we have melancholic, sad, and deep experiences of our emotions that we need to consciously go through. But by us sitting here with ourselves, when we go through them, we grow and come out of it, and not letting ourselves dig ourselves further and further down, but allowing ourselves to lift ourselves up through understanding, compassion, and warmth. That is what you'll also learn by. When you share, you also more or less elucidate to yourself, put out to the world, and to more or less the astral pictures that allows for comprehension. You see, we need pictures to understand underlying emotional feelings and so on, because they are not the same as the thought world, which is very conscious. The feeling world is the dream world, you know? So it is more sensational and has to be understood differently, a little differently. But the more you come to be acquainted with your own being, And also share what you find, like for example with the physical, etheric, the physical, which is the mineral, the etheric, the watery, reflects in the glandular system, our life functions, and we have the astral, the airy, which is reflected in our nervous system, our movement, shared with the animals. And then we have our ego, reflected in the blood. In the human beings, we have it within our body. With animals, they have it outside, in their group soul, and their physical being is an extension, like fingernails on a finger for the group soul. So when one disappears, a new one comes down from the group soul, in a sense. With human beings, it is very much different, because yes, we do get born down in a group soul, but our individual spiritual soul development is independent from our race, from where we are born. And that is why it is important to grab a hold of what is eternal and spiritual within you, so you do not become too comfy within your own physicality, because that will pass, remember. And either you will be born again in the same country, and that cannot be guaranteed to be the most developed country the next time, you see, because it will be a while until the next time you incarnate. It is best to be an earthly, global being and get to be interested as much as possible in every global affair and whatever happens around the world, to know what we are meant to cultivate, to bring ease and comfort and love and warmth to the world. And understanding, knowledge, wisdom in in the light of spiritual science allows us to comprehend and understand it in a true way, in a way that is living. You get a living, feeling sense of the cosmos around us, evolving all around. Nothing is still, truly. And by being part and participating in it, we don't stand still either. Even when we get older and our body is starting to become slower, our inner soul spiritual faculties is becoming ever so stronger. And you become more and more aware of the difference between this mortal vessel and the immortal within us, the more we immerse ourselves in it. And then we can get a feel of what will pass further after death, and we can cultivate what we will take with us, what is necessary, what is of importance and substance. And that brings enthusiasm, initiative, warmth of life, And the breath of life. I even have a tattoo, breath. That's the breathing is important. It brings about the life-giving air that brings new renewal to the blood, which strengthens our whole inner being, and become participating in our life functions too now and then, sitting and enjoying, and be grateful for you living, for breathing, for being able to think and feel and sit in the moment as it unfolds right now, not missing what happens, because something important just might occur in the spiritual world, by becoming aware here and starting to be a little enthusiastic. Be out there, be your spiritual, your spirit. Your spirit is the activity out in the world. We are not meant to withdraw from the world and be afraid to create karma and be afraid to create consequences and, not be participating in the world. No, the true living spirit wants us to create good activity and deeds that will further the development in the outer physical life, you see. We lift up by doing good activity. Instead of being afraid of doing ill activity, we do good activity that make amends for the activities that we otherwise might have done ill, you see. We try to be nurturing and gentle with it too, because we are still in the phase of development that requires us to be a little awake and sharp and in effort, because certain things requires effort to be built as second nature over time, and that requires repetition, training and practice. And by having that feeling of duty, and duty should be loving, duty should be enjoyable, to today my duty is my love, my duty is my life, my path, my dedication. That is a perfect win-win situation, isn't it? Where you wake up and put your all into something that actually has importance, that has something that you can share with the world. No matter how small an inspiration, you still share it because you know it might help a few people. That might help a few people and a few people, and it snowballs and snowball effects again. It doesn't require that much of a push either. It is just about giving that inspiration, but in freedom. No one forces anyone and no one is pointing a finger at you and saying, come on. No, we try to do it gently. But at the same time, poke a little. Because we want you to grab your potential. We want you to grab a hold of what you are able to achieve in this lifetime. Because there are fruits of your labor that will be reaped when you pass. And it is all about having that sense of working for more than just this lifetime and yourself alone, but having a greater sense of responsibility for this earth and the global and every human being, and meet individual to individual. That is what true aliveness and true love means. I meet you individual to individual. Whatever is outside of that comes after, but I meet you individual to individual. And from there we can create something harmonious, something beautiful together, something understanding. Or we can choose to go the opposite way. Do we feel compelled to do that? Who knows? But, well, we do know, but it is about fighting that and being part of the good and the beautiful and the truth. The progressive beings, and not letting yourself be dragged underground in a sense, but standing over, not above, but standing over the underground, being above ground. You see, as we have the threefold, the below ground or the infernal, and we have the earthly, and we have the heavenly. And both Lucifer and Ahriman is part of the earthly. They are microcosms. They have been thrown down here on earth. So they are not part of the cosmos per se. They are cosmic beings, but they were put here to be hindrances for us because they transgressed. But the thing is, these beings cannot transgress from the highest up without being given orders to do so in the end. When you see it as objective as possible, this is all part of the wise guidance of the world, and it is about waking up to not fall into any kind of temptation of, because it is the wise guidance, we can relax, we can become complacent, rest on our laurels, or we feel fear because this or that. Everything that might cripple or paralyze or put you into stagnation is forces that wish to hold you back and wish you to not unfold your humanness, your human being, your I, and your personality, your consciousness, and become awake to what is occurring around in the world. And truly observe and see what actions, what results, what effects is happening right now, and what we are meant to cultivate. And when it is, there is so much chaos that is happening in this world. And that is all the more reason to stick to the order, to stick to the faith, love, and hope. And not fall into this pity and sympathy, but empathic, compassionate, warm, inclusive equality for siblings, individual to individual. And we try to help and ease as much as possible. And sometimes we cannot do it with anything but words and concepts that allow for practical practices and meditation, contemplation, just reflecting actively a little in the world. But sometimes that is enough for now. Sometimes that is a start, that is a seed, that is your beginning. And the beginning can happen now. You can become aware of, oh, I am here now, and I can work upon myself. I can sit still here and reflect upon life, memories of my past, things I have done, things that I have gone through, what I have learned as a human being and as an individual and as a personality and a character. Because all of these inner happenings that has occurred to you in life has helped you shape and build and strengthen your character and personality, have made you who you are today. And I will leave you with this. I love you so much. You are an amazing genius. You share with the world you. May Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, Michael, Christ, Michael, higher hierarchies, ancient masters of old, ancestors from every incarnation, bless, protect, guide, and love you on your beautiful, beautiful path. And may you, well, feel with your heart. Be in the center of your heart. Your heart is your leader. Your heart is the sun. Your heart spiritualizes. Your heart pumps the blood through your whole being that brings life through your whole being. Your heart. Goodbye. Love you.